Hey, welcome to Back Talk Live. I'm Tom Hardigree. Guess what now? Here's the deal. We got some elections coming up. I've got one of the candidates for City Council, Doc Ayers. Your own Stephen Doc Ayers is going to be on with me tonight. I wanted to say a couple of things before we get started with the interview, though. I wanted to tell you that next week I have a candidate for the Bowersville City Council, Alicia Barnett. She's going to be on, and we'll talk about the Bowersville drama, I guess. I wanted to make an announcement that today is our own Patrick Guanella's birthday. Didn't know if you knew that. I suggest you call him and tell him happy birthday. And on a much sadder note, I wanted to tell you this. Y'all remember Lauren Peoples, the reporter for the Hartwell Sun, best reporter I think they ever had. She and I became friends because we would go to these governmental meetings together, and we would sit there and, write. I didn't write notes, but she'd write notes, and we became friends. Well, turns out I got to meet her parents, Eddie Peoples and Susan Peoples. Nice folks. They were very, very, very close. And then Lauren married Will Townsend, Todd Townsend's son, and they're happy. But unfortunately, Eddie Peoples died. He developed a form of cancer and died, the 12th of September. And I went to the funeral. And it was a very sad thing. But the reason I'm telling you all this is because Lauren is kind of special to me. And she was hurting, and Susan was hurting. They were very, very, very close family. And so if you're the type that prays for people, I wish you'd pray for Susan and Lauren. I call her Little Bo Peoples. Anyway, thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me to express that to you, because it's something that's been on my mind. I guess maybe we can go take a commercial. Isn't that what we normally do about this time? Yeah, we'll do it. Hey, Lee, what you doing?
My air's quit working. I'm going to call McGee Heating and Air.
Wait a minute. You got a screwdriver? I know a good bit about this. I can walk you through it. Won't take but a second. Should have called McGee Heating and Air.
McGee Heating and Air. Comfort you can count on.
Okay, Doc, welcome to Back Talk Live.
Thank you, Tom.
They said it couldn't be done.
Well, it takes some odd circumstances to get two brains like ours together.
Oh man, look, now you're running for City Council. Mm-hmm. You're running for the seat that's currently held by Bill Griggs.
Correct.
And Bill, by the way, you're invited to come on whenever you like. Why are you doing it?
Tom, those who know me, know my family, know my dad was on the City Council back in the 70s, late 80s. I've always been part of this community. Feel like this community has done a lot for me, and this community is fixing to be an even better place than it has been. And John Kennedy, back in 1961, said something about, ask not what your country can do for you, ask instead what you can do. And I feel like it's my turn to be part of the leadership.
Well, that's good. Now let me ask you this: what is your political philosophy? What do you think the role of government should be in our lives? It's the local government.
Local government. Well, you and I are going to disagree. And I know you are a very minimalist role for government in everybody's life. I am similar to a degree. I mean, government should be there to provide the services government should be. It should be there to help provide an environment conducive to employment, opportunities for people to find jobs. I mean, we're doing an absolute remarkable job in this county, in this city, over the next 2 years with 1,500 to 2,000 jobs coming in. That's part of what government should do. Now, does government get a little bit out of bounds with what it does? Of course it does. It's only logical. But my thought is government has a right and has an obligation to all of us. It has an obligation to provide the services to ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense and the common welfare.
All right, so you say that we're doing very well with our city and we're going to be doing even better. So, I mean, why are you running if we're already doing well?
Because I want to be part of it. Like I told you, I am a big believer in the idea somebody paid the foundation for who I am serving on this city council. They paid that foundation for me. It's my obligation to pay it forward for the next generation. And, you know, it's my thought. Yeah. It's my turn to step up and say, yes, I will serve. If elected, I will serve.
Are there things that you would change about the way that the city is operating now?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if everything is good, then is there anything that is not good? I mean, is it all good, or are there things that maybe
Again, so much of a person's interpretation of good and bad deals with his or her own beliefs. There are things that we need to look at. We need to get off the idea. We need to do away with, or do whatever we can. We graduate on an average between 200 and 220 young people a year at high school. We're graduating right at 95, 96% of this year's graduating class. But we have some things that we've got to do. We got 1,200 to 1,500 jobs coming into this community over the next 24 months between Purina and the German automobile plant up at the industrial park. We got kids coming out of high school who can go to work the Monday after they graduate on Friday, earning $20 to $25 an hour, which is a whole lot more than you and I could.
Yeah.
But there's no place for them to live. We have got so many opportunities facing us that if we don't take advantage of them, we're going to lose them.
So, do you think that the city government needs to be getting into the business of housing development?
No, government is not predicated in no certain terms on the establishment of saying the city of Hartwell Burger King, the city of Hartwell McDonald's, the city of Hartwell Wendy's, the city of Hartwell Housing Authority. Well, there is that, but I'm not. But at the same time, it's government's provision, it's government's role to provide the economic support to these people who can do this, who have the expertise, to make those benefits available, to provide an environment conducive to them willing to come in and provide these services that communities need, that we need as a community.
So somebody from government should come in and build houses?
No, but government's role is to provide the enticements the tax write-offs, the subsidies, whatever is needed to entice a builder to come in, to provide those things necessary for us to secure the right to grow, the privilege to grow. God, we got 1,200 jobs, 1,500 jobs. If we, are we going to be willing to sit back and say, all right, that's great. We're going to survive off of 20 cents on every tax dollar because there's no place for those people to live in this town. You're a realtor. How many people come to you looking for houses and you don't have them to sell?
It definitely happens. All right, let's see. Here we got one. Is Doc a liberal or a conservative?
I'm middle of the road.
Yeah, that's one of those things like, it depends what you consider as a liberal or conservative. I kind of like to say, because those terms get thrown around a lot, I like this. I'm, for example, accused of being a conservative. I'm really not a conservative. I'm a constitutionalist. I like that. But anyway, you're middle of the road. So let me, you brought up something that I wanted to ask about too. The mayor, Brandon Johnson, a lot of times has at the end of his remarks on Facebook and other things, let's grow. Mm-hmm. And you said something about, that we need to grow. I'm not asking you for Brandon because, you're not Brandon, but how much growth do you think we need? Do we need to be as big as Anderson or Athens or Atlanta? What is the end game?
Tom, we're not, again, with anything, you get into differences in semantics in regard to the meaning of words. The mayor's term about let's grow, is growth more restaurants? Is growth more industry? Is growth more housing? I don't know if it's one thing singularly or all of it taken together. But, and this is where my thought is. There are things that we've got in this town to be proud of. We've got some things to be really proud of. We've done so many things in the last 5 to 10 years that quite literally never would have been thought of. But anytime you do one thing, that opens up another opportunity. I mean, you stop and look. You try to pull out on Highway 29 going there on a Saturday night and count the cars headed toward Anderson. That's tax dollars going away from us. Potential tax money going to Anderson, going to Greenville, going any other direction to Athens. Can we compete with those? Probably not. But what we need to be able to do is we need to be able, as a government, be it city or county, to do the things necessary to help these people, like our DDA, like our Chamber of Commerce, like those folks who work behind the scenes, to go out and get us, sell this community to the people who can provide those things that, like the nice restaurants, like the nice theaters that we so richly could use, but we are so conditioned that we turn around and go to Anderson.
So what would local government, what would you as a city councilman suggest that we do about getting those people to stay in Hartwell?
It goes back to providing the opportunities for businesses, to marketing the community. And I did say marketing the community to protect prospective businesses that Hartwell is here. Come see us. Come take advantage of the lake. Come take advantage of Katichi. But when you come look at our people. Our people are good, are solid. We have the ability to be as good as we want. But we've got to do the job of marketing our community. Provide those opportunities, those enticements that go along straight across the board to attract another industry. I mean, Dwayne Dye and the industrial folks have done a remarkable job. Name another community that's got 3 or less than 4% unemployment. There's not many. But again, as I said, Tom, when you got 1,200 to 1,300, 1,500 jobs coming in, and there's not enough housing, are we going to set as a community and say, all right, we're happy with 20 cents on the tax dollar? Or do we want to do the things necessary to entice a builder and developer to come in and put the single family, multifamily housing units that these 1,200 employee jobs need so we can get the full dollar of tax as a community?
Okie dokie. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about maybe what some of these enticements are and a couple other things that we'll talk about. And please, I just got a text. Please call, text in, whatever you like, because this is your show. You're the taxpayer. Call and ask him questions. Be right back.
Leroy, I'm about to sell this house. I need you to check something out for me.
I need you to get under there and see if there's any moisture in the insulation or the wood bracing or anything like that.
Why can't you do it?
Well, I tell you, my back has been giving me a little trouble lately.
Is it safe?
Of course it's safe.
Are you sure? The last time I listened to you, I fell off a ladder.
Get on under there, Leroy. Everything look all right in there?
Oh, God. Tom, it looks terrible under there. There's moisture all up in the insulation. It's ruined. You're going to have to call Herring Gutter and Insulation.
I'll do it, Leroy. They're the best there is. Thank you a lot.
Call Herring Gutter and Insulation today for your water restoration needs in your attic or crawl space. Not only can they install your insulation, they can dry out your home and treat for mildew and mold if needed. Call today for your free in-home inspection.
Well, Leroy, I'm about to be late for my tea time. Thank you a lot, old buddy.
Hi, folks. We're at the Dairy Queen of Hartwell to give breakfast eaters a voice. So how'd you fellas like your Dairy Queen breakfast?
Oh, they're mighty fine.
Excellent.
The best breakfast in town.
Good breakfast.
How do you like high taxes?
I don't like them too good.
I don't like them in the local level or any other part of government.
Don't like them at all.
I don't like high taxes.
4 out of 4 breakfast eaters choose Dairy Queen food over high taxes. And Ray, how do you like Back Talk Live?
Back Talk Live.
Who told you?
Welcome back to Back Talk Live. Tom Hardigree here. The Doc airs right there. All right, so Doc, anyway, you were talking about some enticements, you know. Wait a minute, before I get into that, let me get some of these. I'm getting, hold on, let's see. Thanks to Nikki Meyer for all her marketing work with the Chamber of Commerce. She loved this community and lots of people loved her. The city council doesn't do marketing, do they?
Marketing, again, you're dealing with semantics, Tom. You know, it's not a marketing body, but by providing the environment from the regulatory standpoint that is conducive to people wanting to come, that's marketing, and that's marketing when compared to other communities.
Well, I had recommended 20 years ago to the Board of Commissioners that we provide some enticements for homeowners, people that were maybe thinking about building a house on a lake, providing some tax incentives for them, and it never did go anywhere. But what kind of incentives are you talking about that the city might provide?
Well, the GIC program that's coming up, that is going to open up a lot of doors as far as grant opportunities, building incentive tax allotments that's going to help us to sell our community to a developer. Mm-hmm. As I said, you got to ask yourself a question. Are you happy with 20 cents of a tax dollar? Or do you want to do what it takes to get the full dollar?
Now, I don't follow you. What are you talking about?
All right. John and Sally, they take a job out at Purina. Mm-hmm. John and Sally make, just for the sake of the discussion, they live in a $150,000 household in Harwell, okay? When they can find one. John and Sally decide they're in a $150,000 house in Harwell. They buy one in Franklin County, okay? You take the tax income that they spend at McDonald's, Walmart, that's one thing. But we don't get the tax that we'd get off that house. Their property taxes are not paid in Hart County. Their property taxes are paid to Franklin County. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm referring to.
Oh, okay, I got you. I just didn't know. Now, another term that you used a few minutes ago that I'd like to just ask about is those people that work behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are a lot of folks that kind of are very leery of people working behind the scenes. What are you talking about when you talk about behind the scenes?
Every one of these groups, the DDA, the chamber, they are blessed with any number of volunteers that are not listed on any of the official stationery, but they love this community. They want this community to be special, and they spend a large number of their days' time working behind the scenes. They're at every chamber event. They're at every DDA event. They're volunteering.
I got you. Well, the behind the scenes thing that those of us who are a little bit cynical fear, I guess, is the meeting before the meeting, the emails and the phone calls mm-hmm. between the politicians, not just city council, but all. We kind of wonder about those things, which brings me to this. This state park issue.
Okay.
Now, this is where what I would like you to answer. From about January, I think, until the last meeting, they didn't mention anything about this issue that is the hottest issue in Hart County. Mm-hmm. There may be issues that are more costly, more important, but that's the hottest issue in Hart County. And they didn't say a word about it. They said Councilman Tony Haney recommended at that meeting that we just put a time limit on this thing, and if we hadn't got something going by this time limit, do away with the whole mm-hmm. deal. Trey said, just give me another month or two, and I'll have everything worked out. Well, we finally heard this last meeting, the September meeting, that they had, some great things done. What I want to know is, if, as a councilman, would you be the one that would you've got your own TV show, of course, mm-hmm. would you be the one that would let people in on things like that, even though your compadres are not talking about it, but would you be the one to let the citizens know what's going on with their money?
I'm going to answer that question this way, Tom. Any governmental organization, any governmental body has to have some expectation of privacy. Has to. Now, as a council member and the host of the TV show, I would probably say strongly that right now I can't answer that question, because not having been put into that situation, I can't say yes or no to it. And until then, I'm not going respectfully not going to answer that question.
Okay. What do you think about this state park project? Wait a second. That would be no. All right. So what do you think about this state park project? I mean, is this something that, all right, they just voted, as you know, they had spent up to this point $325,000 that they admit to. And then they voted the other night, after months of doing nothing, they voted to spend another $45,000 with this fella to see if he can do something to get the thing on.
Okay.
Now, as I understand it, we do have the campground fella who says they're pretty certain that he's going to come. Nothing else that I know of. What do you think they should have spent that extra $45,000? Do you think they ought to continue to pursue it, kill it, or what do you think?
Not being privy to any of the discussions, any of the things, only being able to see what is in the Hartwell Sun, like anybody else. I'm not going to make a judgment on that until I know more about it. I mean, but I would say this. It's an opportunity, and there's a ways available to make it work. But I'm not going to say whether or not I'd support it right now or not until I get the opportunity to learn more about it. I mean, that'd be like you trying to perform brain surgery without a license. Me making that decision, I'd only be making it off of half knowledge.
I don't mind doing some brain surgery without a license.
Okay, but I don't want to do it off of half knowledge.
But in general, you think that this is something that they should pursue? I mean, this whole idea, because as I've said a lot of times before, I don't know if you've ever seen the show, but if I said it's a good idea. There are a lot of good ideas. I think a Space Needle in Hartwell is a good idea. There's a little, issue of money and
copyright,
some things, but I agree that the idea of this 5-star hotel and 5-star restaurant and all of these things, there's a good idea. A little problem with it actually being feasible, but it's a good idea. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, and I wondered if you knew what to think about it.
I'm not being privy to all the discussion, not having not being familiar with the information. I'm not going to answer that question because I would be speaking completely out of turn.
Yeah. Well, it's almost 8. It's supposed to be time to adjourn the meeting, but it's not because we have Gerald on the phone. Gerald, go ahead.
Hey there, Tom. I just sit here and think about what y'all talking, you and Doc. I didn't know Doc was running, so congratulations, Doc.
Thank you, Gerald.
Hope you win this thing, buddy. And you make a good one. You're very smart and intelligent. And you know what? We need more like you, and maybe we get something done in the county and in the city. But Tom there done a tremendous job and everything. But and I know one thing about it because I used to be on the board of commissioners years ago, and I enjoy doing it. But you have some good ideas and some bad ones, but I think all yours is going to be a good idea. And remember one thing, Doc.
What's
You're working
that?
for the people. You working for the people.
Well, that by its very definition is what politics is: working for the people, to serve the people.
That's exactly right. And that's the main thing about it. But you were sitting there talking to a good fellow there, Tom Hardigree. He's all right. Can't beat him.
Well,
y'all have a good night, and may the Lord bless both of you. Okay.
Thank you, man. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.
All right. Bye.
All right, I got one last text for you that I know of. Oh, good grief, what is his opinion? How are people going to vote for someone that refuses to state his opinion and claims not to know anything?
I'd rather keep my opinion to myself, because if I'm going to make a decision, I want to know all of the facts. I want to know all of the information before I make it. I'm not going to make it off of half or 3/4 of an equation. I want the full information before I make it.
All right. Tell anybody any last minute stuff you want to tell them, how to get in touch with you or whatever you want to tell them.
You can contact me. You call the show. We're on air 6 to 7 on Thursday nights. My phone number's in the book. I'll be out starting in about 5 to 6 days knocking on doors. I ask for your consideration, but more importantly, I ask that you exercise the greatest privilege we have as American citizens, and that is the right to go vote. November the 5th will be here before you turn around. Go vote. Vote early. There'll be early opportunities, but the most important thing is go vote.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate you coming on Back Talk Live.
Thank you, Tom.
And we'll be back after a break. We'll take a little nap here and be right back.
Tom, I can't wait to see Gina's new store.
Me either. Lee, don't let me go overboard in here, please. Lee, she's got beautiful jewelry. She's got men's wallets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been looking for one.
Why don't you go ahead and get that and see what happens?
Tom, you need some t-shirts, man. Simply Southern. Look at all this.
Oh, yeah, man. I think I'll get a t-shirt, Lee. I think I'll get one.
Tom, they've got totes, monogrammed, insulated and uninsulated.
Yeah, man. I got to have this one. Lee, they've even got monogrammed handbags.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. I think the wife would like this one.
Sure. Tom, they even had a pet section. Pet deodorizers, pet scarves, clothes.
Leroy, they got strutting cotton, turn rows, and southern sipping t-shirts. Well, thank you, Leroy.
Tom, she's got a line of Bible covers, Bibles, Christian books, even books for kids.
And my favorite, the King James Version. That's the one that Moses read. Leroy, they got this spirit wear, Hart County stuff, Georgia Bulldogs, some Clemson stuff, and they got these neat towels.
For all of your gift-giving needs, visit G's Southern Traditions, located at 36 North Forest Avenue in downtown Hartwell. And we can monogram almost anything.
Well, looks like you did go a little crazy, didn't you?
Frankly, my friend, I don't give a.
The Hartwell Housing Authority features decent, safe, and sanitary housing for low-income families. Each of the 7 apartment complexes are located in the Hartwell city limits and feature 24-hour maintenance, landscaping, as well as 24-hour surveillance. You can choose apartments from 1 bedroom all the way up to 4 bedrooms. All apartments are periodically renovated and stoves and refrigerators are furnished. Gas, water, sewage, and garbage pickup are also included. The Hartwell Housing Authority. Applications may be picked up daily.
Welcome back to Back Talk Live. Guess what? Now I got Matt Beasley. Matt used to be the mayor of Hartwell, way back a long time ago. Been a while. And I always like having Matt on. He knows a lot about the history of Hartwell politics and the history of Hartwell and Hart County. As a matter of fact, I always want to read our text messages and take our phone calls. And here we go now. One of them said, "Rest in peace, Coach Bill Say." Now, Coach Say was a football coach back in the mid to late 60s. Great guy, great coach, great influence on young people. I'll have to just tell you, I never did play football, so I didn't, although I was in the Key Club and he was the, advisor for the Key Club. And he went with us on these conventions and things like that. And, I didn't ever get in any real trouble. I cut a guy one time with a knife pretty bad on his hand, but it was an accident. But anyway, they asked me they used to, I don't know if they still do this, but they used to have the regular football team would play all of the seniors in one, final game or at some point during the year. And they had asked me if I would act as the head football coach for the seniors, because Coach Say was on the other side of the field coaching his real team. Well, I said, sure, I'll do it. And I dressed up like Coach Say, and I used some of his mannerisms, and I don't think he liked it too much. I don't think he liked me much after that. But he was a great guy. I saw him in Athens not too long ago. He was a greeter at the hospital in Athens, Regional Wales, back in 2014. Heck of a nice guy. Just couldn't be any nicer. And he passed away. He's 80. I think he was 85 years old. But he'll be missed. He was a Georgia Bulldog. He was a great guy. But anyway, I wanted to throw that in after I got this text message. I got another one. Hartwell has crappy infrastructure. The rough streets around town is a disgrace. The city leaders should take care of existing needs first instead of spending tax money on a dream of bigger things coming to town. There is no doubt in my mind that the people that scout for possible locations for larger restaurants, other businesses already know of Hartwell existence. They do not need help from anyone to make a decision whether to set up shop here or not. P.S. The traffic in town is so bad now it is hard to pull out into the street. That problem needs to be addressed before anything else. And I got this pertains to the interview I just had with Doc Ayers. I wonder if he plans to learn about the important issues in the city before he goes out knocking on doors. Never mind, I won't read that one. Matt.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
You still teaching school?
I was still there. I was still employed when I left today at 3 or so.
You teach economics?
Government.
Government. Yeah, that's right, government. But you know a lot about economics.
A little bit.
You're learning.
A little of that Austrian economics,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So you did a video. And I just discovered when I got here that they already showed this on Doc's show, and I'm so, but as Wes so aptly pointed out, not everybody watches the same two shows. So this show is, I guess, different. I don't ever get to see Doc's show or even Tina's show because I'm, not here. But this show, what we do on this show is, let me just say what I do. A lot of people join civic clubs, the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis Club or whatever, and that's the way that they serve the community, and that's good. A lot of people do Habitat for Humanity. A lot of people do this Downtown Development Authority or the Chamber of Commerce. That's the way that they serve the community. Some people run for political office and serve that way. They get elected and serve that way. I serve in a different way. I serve in my own way, and that is to give taxpayers a voice. I think that it's important that we talk about government, we talk about taxes, that we talk about the people and the decisions that are made that affect all of us. Now, yes, some people get mad at me. Some politicians don't like me. Some folks try to stop me from having this show. Some people even go and talk to the sponsors and try to get them not to sponsor the show and all of that. And that's unfortunate for them. They have something to hide. I don't have anything to hide. This is a call-in talk. You can call in, you can text anonymously. I don't know how you can get any more honest than that. And that's the service that I choose to do. Here we are. So call in if you like, text if you like. You have done a video with your children, with your
right. They did it.
Students.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
And you've had something to do with it.
Well, Mr. Bunbaum, assistant superintendent, contacted Marion Hanahan, who is our academic coach for social studies, and he contacts me and says they want to know if we're doing anything for Constitution Week. And I said, well, I got this idea. I've been wanting to do it for years, but I've just never gone through with it. And so he said, I'm coming to your room. We're going to talk about it. So before school, a week or so ago, well, it was a week ago last Tuesday, and I told him I wanted to do a video. I've seen the Declaration of Independence done by people out of Hollywood and the NFL, where they recite the Declaration of Independence. I said, I'd love to do something similar, and rather than bore people with the entire Constitution, let's do the preamble and let's do the Bill of Rights. And so went to Mr. Gaines, the principal, and he was 100% supportive. Whatever you need, we'll get it done. So I said, the main thing I need is your brother's expertise in video production. So he said, no problem. We went to Greg Gaines. He said, yeah, we'll do it. We'll get it together. So we did all the arrangements with Mr. Gaines. Principal Gaines got us a bus, loaded the kids up, and we went all over. A lot of people I could thank. Brandon Pierce with the DNR helped us out. The Legs let us use the old Skelton House. City Hall, John Herschel got us accommodations. Frankie Gray at the courthouse. Hugh Gray let us come down to his place, and so leaving other people out too. But these students on a hot day, we started filming at about 8:30, and we finished just before 3 o'clock. And so I look forward for you to watch the video.
Good.
They posted it on Facebook Tuesday night, and when I looked at school today, that over 1,800 people had viewed the video.
Good.
So.
Well, it's really, really, really important now more than ever, I think, that we study the Constitution, especially our congressmen. It would be nice if they would crack that thing open, dust it off. But how long is it? 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
What we're going to do is we're going to take a break and then come back and watch it. And then I've got a couple of emails that I need to read you that are pretty controversial, hard-hitting, that you'll enjoy. See you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Barton. Since 1903, multiple generations of my family have contributed to the growth of HTC while serving the local community. Our vision has always been to provide cutting-edge communication and entertainment services to the surrounding area. From home security to fiber optics, HTC will continue to provide services that enrich the lives of the customers we serve. HTC, technology you need, people you can trust.
On the Trane test range, you learn what makes our heating and cooling systems so reliable. If there's a breaking point, we'll find it. It's hard to stop a Trane. Really hard.
Remember, McGee Heating and Air. Comfort you can count on. It's hard to stop a train.
Welcome back to Back Talk Live. Matt just reminded me that Deborah Cleveland got married. Now, Deborah Cleveland was a sponsor of this show for a long time. One of my close friends, Deborah Cleveland, and I ran into her a couple of weeks ago in town, and I yelled at her. I couldn't tell if it was her. I said, I didn't know if that was you because that's not your car. She said, that's my husband's car. I said, you're what? Mm-hmm. Anyway, congratulations to the lucky fella and best wishes to you, Deborah. Okay, you want to look at let's do this thing, and
Sure.
then I'm going to read some controversial stuff to you. Let's watch this. This is so important.
Of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union.
Establish justice.
To ensure domestic tranquility.
To provide for the common defense.
To promote the general welfare.
And secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity.
Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Or abridging the freedom of speech. Or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people who keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated.
And no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation.
And particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury.
Except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger.
Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb.
Nor shall be compelled in any crime case to be a witness against himself.
Nor to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial.
By an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law.
To be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense.
In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved.
In no fact trial by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law.
Excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people.
That was fabulous.
They did a good job. Proud of them.
That was great, and I hope that those kids, that made them think about it and they'll start reading it. Not many people read the Bible and not many people read the Constitution.
And we just started, we filmed this and we've just now gotten into the beginning of the Bill of Rights, and I'm trying to help them to understand the original intent of the framers of the Constitution, and it's a slow process, but this is one that I'm willing to take a couple of weeks on because I think it's very important. And then once we get through here, then we'll start going through the 7 articles of the Constitution, starting with the legislative branch next week.
Good. Yeah, go over it. Hey, can I do my commercial? Because I got to tell you something, my real estate commercial. All right, I'm getting some good listings now. I got one listing, a week, maybe about 10 days ago, and it just went under contract like that. It's a great house. Got another one that I expect to have under contract soon. I've got a really nice lake house, super lake lot, nice dock and all the rest that I'll be listing in the next day or two. So if you're looking to buy a lake house, you might want to hold off until I can get this thing listed, because you won't find a better lot, I don't think. And we have a phone call from Gerald.
Yeah, I want to call back. And I see Matt Beaver sitting there, good friend of mine. And Matt, I just watching this program, what you have done. It's a wonderful thing about the independence of this nation and of the city and county of Hartwell. You know, you have the wonderful job that you've done, and I want to say that you made a good mayor. I won't never forget that. And you're a terrific person, and keep up the good work, and may the Lord bless you and help you in any way that He will. And I know He will in any way.
Thank you,
have
sir.
a good night and a good day, and thank you for being such a good mayor. And Tom, thank you for having him on. He's a terrific person.
I'm glad he would come on. Thank you for calling.
Mighty kind words.
You're welcome, buddy.
It was people like you that, you know, I'd run in, I'd see you at the produce stand or see you in town, and you're always kind of talk with me. And it was people like you that I relied on to help me to understand what people in this community are wanting. So, and I know that you've been in the arena when you're on the Board of Finance, and so I appreciate that. I really do. And I give all the credit to these kids. I just gave them an avenue and let them run with it, and they're the ones that did it. The ones that filmed it, the ones that edited it, the ones that did the speaking. I just helped them to get from point A to point B. So I defer all that credit to them. So thank you. And I want to say before you get into your might be negativity, I got the two shout out to Doc and anybody, Mr. Griggs included, that, you know, you subject yourself. Doc paid a qualifying fee to come put himself in this arena, to put himself. I'm glad that he came and sat here with you.
Yeah.
So I just want to say it's a tough job for a person to. But I mean, you look how many people in the last decade have volunteered themselves for public office, and we don't get a lot of people. So I want to say that.
All right,
Sorry
thank
for
you
the
for saying
positivity.
that. What a fabulous project, Mr. Beasley. That's the kind of project-based learning that they will remember forever.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll get on with some negativity. All right, dear Back Talk, I felt like I perhaps jumped the gun when I criticized a local paper for not recognizing Patriots Day and remembering 9/11. I thought maybe there would be something in this week's paper. Nope, not a thing. As for the regional story they hyped, a couple of dozen protesters and a few more counter-protesters and 600 law enforcement showed up in Dahlonega, a non-event that the paper gave a half a page to cover. I'm glad I can get my local news here on your show and other outlets. The paper just ain't what it used to be. You might remember I read that letter last week about the paper not covering 9/11 Patriots Day, but covering this divisive event over in Dahlonega. And then this one is my last email, I think. There was one time there was a farmer and his wife who had a beautiful horse. It was the talk of the countryside. In its day, it won lots of blue ribbons. Over the years, the horse was old and of no use. Neither the farmer nor his wife ever rode the horse or even went to the pasture to visit her. One day, the farmer and his wife decided to divorce. All of a sudden, the horse was desired by both the farmer and his wife. They had the biggest fight over who would get the horse that no one really cared for. This story is similar to what is happening in Bowersville. What was once a thriving little town is nothing more than a couple of empty buildings along a set of railroad tracks. Bowersville is nothing more than Gold Mine and Newburgh, both which have actual stores. It's time for Bowersville to surrender its charter and become an unincorporated community. Then these hard feelings that have divided neighbors will go away. Now there's a thought you can talk about Bowersville.
Had a meeting either tonight or tomorrow. Maybe tonight.
Tonight.
Meeting.
Tonight, yep. And I've got a candidate for Bowersville City Council next week.
Well, good.
So yeah, that was a great thing. And see, the Constitution is so important. There are things in there that you read that you don't know. You don't know are there. You don't like the Bill of Rights. They say the Congress is not allowed to. And the reason they say the Congress is not allowed to do something is because the Congress is really the only one, they're the ones that can fund it. If another branch, the executive or the judicial branch, decides they want to do something, they can make an announcement that they're going to do it, but they can't do it because the Congress holds the purse strings. So that's why it says that. It's not talking about the states. Now, it gives all of these things that the federal government is not allowed to do, and then that 10th Amendment says if we left out anything, they can't do that either. But the states can. Now, I'm not smart enough to know a lot of things. I don't understand, like, for example, I know that the Second Amendment is the one that they're constantly debating. Every time somebody gets shot, the news, they're all over the place, and all the liberals on the news are saying we need to do away with gun ownership and all that. I know that it's unconstitutional to do away with gun ownership at the federal level. What I'm not clear on, I don't see that it says the states are prohibited from gun control. I don't see where it says that.
That's where you got to read the Supreme Court decision. I think it was 2008, Heller versus D.C. I might be wrong on the date, but that was a 5-4 decision that the courts ruled the ban or prohibition of handguns in D.C. is unconstitutional. And that's when they brought it down from the federal government to the state level.
Yeah, and I know that there are a lot of court decisions that have nothing to do with the Constitution. They say that they do. Mm-hmm. They'll say the Constitution is a living document. That's the Bible that's the living document. The Constitution is easy to understand. It's not living. But so I don't really like to pay too much attention to court decisions, because a court decision applies only to that particular case. Now, it is true that the lower courts can look at that decision and say, well, we know that if this higher court decided this, that if this case would ever get up to that higher court, we already know what the decision is going to be because they've already made it once. And this, in our case, is so similar to that one that we're sure, so we don't want to pursue it. I understand how that happens. But then the court changes. The philosophical makeup of the judge or judges change. So now suddenly, and that's what this whole smear campaign against Judge Kavanaugh is about. It's about abortion. They are afraid that if a case gets to the Supreme Court, an abortion case, they're afraid that the Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade, and they are desperately hoping that that won't happen. So they're trying to, because they know that more than likely Donald Trump's going to get reelected, and he's going to have one more at least Supreme Court justice to appoint. And once he does that, it's set for forever, and Roe v. Wade will eventually be overturned. So they're trying to go after this Kavanaugh fella now, thinking maybe they can get rid of him. Mm-hmm. So that's what this is all about. But these court cases are so political sometimes that I don't know that. But if you want to really understand the Constitution, go to the Federalist Papers. And that's where Hamilton, Jay, and Madison, I think, mm-hmm. wrote letters basically to farmers, people who were agriculture, and they were explaining to them what the Constitution meant. And it's a little bit hard to read, but you can get through it, and you can go to the internet for some help and find out what they said that the Constitution means. That's a lot more reliable than what some, judge who's got a political bent has to say. Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate your show. I
appreciate you tolerating me. And look, thank you for tolerating me too. Next week, I got Alicia Barnett from Bowersville talking about some of that stuff. Tune in, have your questions for her, call in, text in, whatever you want to do, because this is your show. This is a call-in talk show, all honesty. And we will see you next time.